Investors, welcome back. Welcome back to the channel 11 Coco. Remember 11 Coco full basket. I have been away. I know I've been away for quite some time, but I have been keeping up with the market and the portfolio. I see that it has increased much since we spoke. So I would like to just take a few minutes to just give you an update as to what we've been doing this year, and we have collected quite a sum of dividends for sure. So thank you for joining me again. All right, as we always say that this is just our journal. We're just recording our journey to financial freedom, and we do not want you to take it as any form of financial advice. We are just sharing with you how we've been investing and how it has been working out for us. And it has been working for us because we are practicing more of a passive investment style. Even though I do keep up with my holdings, I do look to see which is doing well and which is not doing so well. But we are not actively selling. I'm sure that we are actively buying, maybe not as much as we would have liked, but for sure, this is just our journey. And I'm inviting you still and anyone who wants to join us now to just continue the journey with us. Thanks for joining us. All right, this is our portfolio holdings, and if you've been following the channel for some time, you would have seen that I have not really changed any of my positions. I still do have Burrito investment, and it is showing that I have one, well, my portfolio is 1%. I have not added to Burrito. There's something about Burrito that has, I don't know if it has drawn me in as to how investors are actually benefiting from the company. I don't even know if they pay dividends. I should try to keep up with that. I don't remember the last they have paid a dividends, but I noticed that they've been making some moves in the market where real estate is concerned, and I would like to think that investors are going to benefit from that in some way. But at this minute, I don't know if I'm seeing where investors have been benefiting from the increased profits that they say that they've made over there at Burrito. We're still waiting. We still have dollar investment is now showing that it is 4% of our holdings. I have been holding dollar investment for a while. In fact, I've been recently looking at dollar, and I've been wondering if I made the right decision when I did, because I actually sold quite a few of my Carreras shares at the time to buy more shares of dollar investment. And Carreras, it has moved up since, maybe over 100%. And dollar is, well, has been logging in the red for some time. It has just moved into positive territories for me. If I look at my Money JA account, I can see where it has moved up maybe 5% to date, but that is not significant compared to the dividends and the capital appreciation that I would have gotten from Carreras. So that choice at the time, it is what it is. It's always in hindsight, right, as to what we expect, and the outcomes are now just being seen. But it's just an investment, and I think that it is a fair investment. I wouldn't say that it's a great investment, but Dollar Financial Services, let's see what those guys over there at Mayberry are doing with it. I noticed that they've um, bought a portfolio, or bought a portfolio of loans. Let's see how it impacts their bottom line and their dividends paid, and ultimately the stock price. Let's see how that works out. We still have Cygnus Investment. Cygnus Investment is showing that it is only 5% of our holdings currently. I don't know. Cygnus Investment is a very long time hold. I've been holding it for a while, and I am not sure if I'm seeing where Cygnus has improved any um, anywhere close to where I was expecting. Uh, uh, they say that they have more capital under management, but more capital under management is simply saying that the operators will have more to collect, because the more capital they have under management, the more, well, the greater the percentage that they will be able to take in management fees. But if you look at the returns from where the APO was sold at $16 and something cents, I think, and it is now like at $9 and something. I don't know if investors have gotten enough from the company. Um, and the last dividends was quite less than what we used to collect, because they have been saying that when the Puerto Rican segment of the company, the profit will certainly move up to Cygnus, and then of course I would expect that that would influence the amount of dividends that we get, but I have not been seeing that. But I'm in a losing position where Cygnus is concerned. Of course, I'm not going to sell it right now, but still, for the time that I've been holding it, it has been maybe one of my poorest investments so far. Let us see what they have going forward. I'm still holding Cygnus investment. I do not intend to sell it at a loss. That would be a great loss for me for sure. And I do have time, and I will still collect the dividends to reinvest into something else for sure. But let us see what happens there. GK, Grace Kennedy, is 7% of my holdings. I am not disappointed with the GK. They have been paying steady dividends. I noticed that the dividends have been increased over the period. I think that it has increased the last payment, or the one that is to be paid yet, has increased from 55 cents to 70 cents, I think. So it is not a great dividend, but it is a stable company, and I think that it is doing exactly what I would expect it to do now. We're still waiting for that overseas introduction to an overseas market yet. But you understand where they want to take the company. They want to increase the capital base of the company, uh, and they want to increase the revenues to, I guess, in the 2 billion US region. They have not crossed that mark yet. It would take some time and some more effort and some more acquisitions for sure to get to that point. But I do have confidence in the guys over there at GK. And I like that it's a huge corporation. It's not just held and operated by a one man and his family, so that they can make any decision that they want to make. I still do have confidence. And I think that Don Webby has left a great legacy over there at GK. And you could bet that you could bet on your investment that it is not going to drop by 20% overnight. And so that is one of the things that at least your capital is being preserved, and you are still getting a little dividends that you can add more shares if you like. I have not been adding to GK. I've been using those dividends to add to something else. All right, and so we still do have PBS 9.25, and it is still giving us the dividends that we're used to getting. I am quite satisfied with it. It is one of the companies that, or it is one of my investments that has helped me to add a number of other companies to the portfolio. With every payout, I do buy into another company, which is great. It is one of those that has helped me to get to a greater investment into Trans Jamaica, and so it has done what I expected it to do. Carreras, it would be one of my greatest surprises over the period. Carreras have moved up way since last we spoke. Maybe it was at $16 at the time. Carreras is in the 30, well, between 33 and 35 region right now, and it is paying great dividends. I have no concerns right now with Carreras. I think that the payout is a little much compared to the profits that they make. Are we still waiting for Carreras to do another great thing? Or we just content with collecting the dividends? If they do not grow the company, then where would it go from there? But Carreras for sure has been one of our best, I would think, investments so far. I still, as you can see, have TransJamaica. TransJamaica ain't going anywhere. It is 50% of my holdings. And it is not 50% of my holdings because I've added more money. It is 50% of my holdings because it has appreciated so much. My average price, I must say, is a little over $1.50, maybe $1.59, and Carreras and Transjam right now is at between 11.25 and 11.30, I think, today as we record. How can you ask for a greater investment, right? But it has been paying me great dividends. So based on my purchase price and the dividends I'm getting now from Transjam, I would be getting about like 20 something percent, maybe 21%. They're about returns just in dividends, and it has returned over 600% in terms of cap gain. When you look at it though, you're looking at it and you're like, okay, when do I sell this investment? Because it has appreciated much, much more than I would get from the dividends. Do I want to still holding? I'm still holding, as you see here now. It is one of our better investment. I do believe that TransJamaica is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Others may say no, because there are other companies that have moved up significantly. But yes, there may be other companies that have moved up or appreciated significantly. But would those companies give the same amount of kind of security that TransJam has given? It is an infrastructure holding, which is great. I guess there are concerns about renewing of the concession, things like them giving up the first preference to getting other segments of the highway, questions regarding whether they will get other segments of the highway to manage, or will it go to a higher bidder than TransJam will be able to pay, or will there be some other arrangements with other companies to get some of the legs of the highway? So I guess all those concerns are legitimate. I guess those are quite legitimate concerns. There's no question about it, and there's no fooling yourself that this thing is going to just hold and climb forever. At some point, we must reassess whether TransJam is the best investment still going forward with this amount of capital gains. If you've been holding for sure from the start, lots of persons would have sold out of it, or maybe have joined, or maybe have invested later on in the game. But for the persons who have been holding since IPO, I've not been holding since IPO because I actually sold, but then I bought back in some at lower than IPO price and some at higher than IPO price, and I'm really comfortable right now with my average price for sure. There's no question about it. But at some point I will have to reassess whether it is worth holding this stock for a longer time, or selling out of it and just buying into something else that is more, could I say, safer, and be able to manage my risk better. But let us see what TransJam has to offer going forward. We have been paying attention. All right, so this is just showing my dividend history just for this year, 2026. If you go, this is just a screenshot of my Money JA dividend page. So for 2026, it is showing you quarter one, two, and I guess some of quarter three. And that orange bar there is showing that there is dividend yet to be paid that has been declared and that is yet to be paid. So this is showing my PBS has been paid, Carreras has been paying, there's no question about it. Transjam has paid me that amount that you see there, 116K. GK has paid me as well. So yes, I have gotten. I don't know if this chart is showing me everything. I don't think that it is showing me everything. Maybe the smaller amounts are not shown here, but it does give me a total of 120. I think maybe today I've gotten another one to be 15 payments, but on average for sure, it's not far from it. I think that the My Money JA app is pretty accurate on working out and keeping track of the dividends. If you pay for it, you will get more information. This is a paid version for sure. So it is showing that I have collected 420,000, that's Jamaican dollars for sure, in dividend payments so far this year, which is not bad at all. It would mean that I would have invested all of that back into something. Do I know right now what I have invested it in? I'm not sure, but it would be between the JSE and something else. I have reinvested it though, there's no question about it. But if you use the My Money JA app, it will show you all of that and it will show you the upcoming dividends. If you do not have a paid version, you will still see some, but this is a paid version for sure. I have been supporting the app because I think that they have been doing a wonderful job over there with this My Money JA app. Randy and his team, kudos to them. So go over there, check it out, My Money JA. All right, let's talk. Today I want to take a step back to examine how the pursuits of guaranteed outcome can paralyze our financial progress. I like to call it the cost of certainty. And to me, the cost of certainty is just an example of an opportunity to cost. The cost of certainty to me are just those opportunities that you would have missed during the time you waited to know for sure or to know for certain that a company will take a particular action. So all the time that you've wasted waiting to know for sure that this company will take a certain action, to me would be the cost of certainty. You've waited all this time just to know for sure. And I think when we invest, it involves some amount of uncertainty. I would say it is more an intelligent guess as to what is going to happen going forward with the information that we have gathered. And I would want to think that we will want to gather as much information as we can in order for us to make that intelligent guess, right? I do not think that we are just going to go there and be like, okay, we are going to make this investment without collecting enough information, right? But I do think that measuring the cost of certainty is basically on a continuum, in my view. You would start from a position where you do not have sufficient information about the investment to where you are I would say almost certain of of why you're going to make the investment. I do not think that there will be absolute certainty, but for me, absolute certainty would be at the highest level along that continuum, and then ignorance would be at the lowest um, of the continuum. So then you would start at ignorance and then you would end at absolute certainty, right? But I wouldn't, well, certainly I would not expect that anyone who's going to be investing would be investing with no knowledge at all, right? I would not think that you would be so ignorant or have no knowledge of the investment that you are going to make. You would not want to be in that position unless you're just planning to throw your money away, right? So for me, it would start at ignorance to absolute certainty. Now, at what point along that continuum would you make an investment, or would you start to make an investment? Um, for me, if you invest while you're ignorant about the investment, then I think that it would be quite a stupid move to make. But at the same time, if you wait until you are absolutely certain that a company is going to take a certain action, then I would think at that point that certainty would have cost you a lot. I would think that certainty is very expensive, right? There are many examples that we could look at where persons would make an investment when they are quite ignorant about what is going to happen. There are many examples on the market for sure. We may not want to go in them or call the names of those companies, right? But there are also many examples that we could cite as we speak about absolute certainty. So for me, one of those examples could be, let us say we Transjam is now at it is at $11 something today as we speak. Today, the 25th day of August 2026. If you wait until you're absolutely certain that Transjam is going to be able to, well, is going to acquire the right to operate the Montego Bay leg of Highway 2000 of the highway, then it may cost you maybe it would cost you $5 more on the price of Transjam right now. So maybe it will cost you, maybe the cost of it will be $15, $16. What will it be? $17, $20, right? So I'm saying that if we wait until we're absolutely certain that Transjam will operate that leg of the highway, then I'm sure by then the price is going to move from this $11 to maybe $20, right? So that would be your cost of certainty. Do you have enough information now that you can use to make a decision as to whether it is going to be a great buy going forward from this price? Or are you going to wait until they have announced that they have the right to operate the highway, and then this portion and then this leg of the highway will bring in a certain amount of revenue? Then is that when you would want to buy into it? Or would you want to take the information that you have now to use that information, make an intelligent guess, and buy into the company now, so that when they get the other legs of the highway, and not necessarily the Montego Bay leg. There are other legs of the highway that Transjam may be able to get to operate, may be able to earn the right to operate. Are we going to wait until when you are absolutely certain, I would say absolutely certain, right, that this company will earn this right in order to buy into the company? Right now, I've been looking at it and I've been thinking that maybe the information that we have now would land us along that 50% line of the continuum. I would not say that we are ignorant to all the information or ignorant to the fact that this may happen. But I do not think, based on the information that I've gathered in recent times, that we are anywhere close to being absolutely certain that they will earn this right. I have been listening to Randy and Danai, and at first they made mention of the fact that Transjam have given up the right to operate the Montego Bay leg of the highway and so on, and it is not a given that they will earn this right. And if you look at it, it could be true, right? It could be true. It could be that the government, well, one, it could be that the government keeps this leg of the highway because it's a cash cow for to help them with their revenue. It could also mean that they can grant the right to another company willing to pay them more than Transjam may be able to willing to pay. Or it could be that a new company is formed with that leg of the highway and that they may add certain other infrastructure to that to make it a different company, and those companies may not be as attractive, whatever they want to sell, right? But if they add this leg of the highway to it, it may make it more attractive to sell that other thing that they want to divest. It could be a number of things, and I would say right now that on my continuum of certainty, it would be about 50 or 60%. Absolutely. I used to think that it is more, but when I listened to the interview on Learn, Grow, Invest, I was not any more convinced that they are getting this leg of the highway, right? And on Brick Talk, if you listen to Danai and Randy, sometimes I disagree with their position, but in this case, I do have to take a look at it and I understand where he's coming from, and he could be right, right? So that is what I mean, that you have to look at the information and make an intelligent guess. And is this now an intelligent of a guess for us to make? Like, how it is a hard call to buy it at $11. Well, I have it, and so I can keep it for a longer time, right? But if they do not acquire any more of the highway and they are able to make an early renewal of the concession agreement, I think that alone should be able to keep the price of Transjam where it is now. It may fall a little to make way for the dividends that will be paid. Even from here, dividends should be increased, I think, in one more chance. I'm almost sure that it will increase a little more from here. So I think that for me, wherever the price lies that afford investors, let us say, a 6.5% dividend, then the price should be stabled off right there. If let us say, if there is no other leg to be added, I do think that at a 6% dividend payment, and an extension of the right to operate the highway for until what, 2070 something, I think that would be enough to hold the price stable. So yes, that is one example. The cost of certainty also can be shown in the erosion of purchasing power, because if you hold cash for a long time, just holding it there to be certain that something is going to happen, you're already losing purchasing power just by the erosion of the amount, well, the erosion of the value of that cash that you're holding. And so that in itself is a cost, right? How much is it costing you to hold this cash for some days of certainty? I don't know, but it can be very costly. I also think that the dividends return on a cost basis, because if you buy early and you hold that investment for a while, the prices are going up and the dividends may also go up, but you are going to be getting dividends based on the cost at which you purchase, which is going to give you a higher dividend return. So that could be a cost for you as well. It could cost you, because now I'm holding Carreras for a while. If I waited until I was certain that Carreras would still be around, right, in this age, and I must say that I'm not a smoker and I've never been a smoker. Carreras is just an investment. Where I'm concerned, there are lots of questions about whether it is ethical, because it is costing people their health, but I do think that this is a choice that people have to make on their own, and they can't be forced. And one of the things I've learned over time is the right to choose, and the right to choose, to me, is the greatest amount of freedom, right? Right to choose is freedom. So if someone wants to smoke, I can't tell them not to. I'm not a smoker and I wouldn't smoke. But I have been looking at Carreras as to say, maybe they could distribute like legal marijuana in some way. I don't know. I don't know, because that's where I had been looking for the company to be able to increase their earnings and so on. But the price have moved up so quickly. I don't know what someone knows that I don't know. That has moved the price from $17 to now $33. Looking at it, looks like it could go to $50. On what basis? Please help me to understand. All right. The cost of certainty also can cost you, or can take your financial freedom, because you want to be certain about a particular thing, you do not invest. And so, because you're not 100% certain, but I'm certain enough, I do not have to be absolutely certain to invest. Because if you do not invest, you're going to find that you're going to be at the same spot forever. But if you do invest, that can help you to be financially free. And I think that is why, essentially, when you work, you do want to make a contribution to society. Aside from that, working is to be financially free. That is why I work, to be financially free. I also want to make a contribution to the development of society and so on, to the generation that will come after me, to make things a little better for them. There's no question about that. But ultimately, the goal is to be financially free. And anybody who tells me that they work for anything else, they're lying, right? Unless you're just volunteering. If you're already financially free and then you're just volunteering, that for sure it is very noble. And I would like to get to the point where I'm financially free and I can just volunteer my time for the greater good of society. But I would like to get to financial freedom, and I do believe that it is going to be from my investing that will get me to that point. right? Because you want to be able to collect the dividends when you're retired and that kind of thing. And I do think that a well diversified investment strategy can help to achieve financial goals while managing your risk, of course, because you do not want to just invest for investment's sake. You want to manage your risk. And when you have acquired a certain amount of, I wouldn't say wealth now, but just money, then you want to be able to protect it. And so I wouldn't go out and say, okay, just invest in Transjam and it will make you rich, right? No, because there can be a news tomorrow morning that something happened and then the price just plummets. What are you going to do? Just sit and cry? I would say buy a little GK over there that is stable, well, a little more stable, right? And there are other companies that you can buy into that would offer some amount of stability. I would say get some money into those companies as well. And then you can also get some money into some growth stocks that can propel your portfolio forward. So for me, the cost of certainty can be very expensive. It can cost you many things, as we have discussed before, right? It can be very costly. It can take away your ability to be financially free just because you're stuck in paralysis, analyzing everything to the point where you're stuck, you can't move forward, right? So I would just say, for all the investors out there and all the persons who are thinking about investing, just to first start by looking at um, stable stable stocks, and then from there you can move into um, taking a little more risk, I guess, moving down the continuum of certainty. Um, the further down you go, the greater your ability to make um, great returns on your investment. The further up you go along the continuum to absolute certainty, the less you will make on your investments because you're paying the price of being certain. I would say that you're just to be intelligent about your investment, and I think you'll be fine moving from there. So invest, invest, invest. Do not stop investing because you're afraid. All right, what's next for my portfolio? I have been buying JSE, the stock. Um, Currently, well, I've been saying that for a while. Currently, I only have 30,000 shares. The goal is to get to 100,000 shares, and there may be a bunch of stuff that are affecting the JSE right now. I see where recently even NCB is trying to um, remove their trading from the JSE platform and maybe having their own trading platform. But some of these platforms are so inefficient, slow, and it's just backward. And right now, I think that the JSE platform is the best platform to buy and sell stocks on right now. I do think that moving forward, there will be a lot of persons just, well, a lot of those investment houses just having their own platform. But well, of course, that may affect some of the fees that the JSE collects from um, trading. But they will collect fees from listing. They will still collect the annual fees from the companies that are already listed. If there's an APU or rights issue, they will collect fees from that. I guess what they won't collect will be the trading cess of maybe 0.036 or something like that of the trading value, if it is, well, if the trade doesn't go through JTrader Pro. But they will still collect the JCSD fee for settlement and that kind of thing. And I would be looking forward for the JSE to be able to take advantage of some of the smaller trading platforms across the Caribbean and maybe do some more cross-listing of companies from the smaller Caribbean islands and so on. So as long as there is trading happening, I do think that the JC will collect fees. Am I going to wait until I'm absolutely certain that the JC will be able to add more companies from different Caribbean territories, maybe take over some of those smaller exchanges? No, I'm not really. And so along this continuum of certainty, I will take uh, the risk of continuing to invest in the stock exchange. The goal is 100,000, and I have not been very aggressive. I should try to move faster to acquire more shares. I see that the cost of share now, or the price of the share has gone down to maybe 8 something today to date. Um, Today would be a great day to take advantage of that, but every time you do not have cash on you, there are a lot of opportunities on the market. I wonder if anyone else have been noticing that. Something is up with that. How do we explain it? I guess we can't. But for sure, I do want to reach my goal of 100,000 shares. Am I in a hurry? Maybe not, because if I were, I would have acquired my 100,000 shares at $12.50, where it was maybe 3-4 months ago, right? So sometimes it's good to just dollar cost average, right? Because now I can keep averaging down at this price. If I could get a bunch of shares, if I could get the balance of my goal, 70,000 shares at this price, $8 and something, that would be great, right? But dollar cost averaging, nothing's wrong with it. It is a method of also managing your risk, and nothing is wrong with just dollar cost averaging into some of the companies that you like. So JSE, I'm still buying into that, and I'm still confident that I can earn, because it does pay reasonable dividends, but I'm sure the dividends paid out will be dependent on the earnings, right? So let's see about that. All right, so here's my chart. I don't think I completed last year, 2025. It's still showing that I collected 351. No, I would have, it would have been way more than that. It would have been maybe 600 something, I think, right? So, but for this year only, I've collected 420 already, and I do expect to collect more, so I will keep updating you on that. All right, investors, remember the cost of certainty can be very high. Do not pay that very high price for certainty. Take an intelligent guess with your investing, manage your risk, and remember, one cocoa full basket. I'll see you again.